Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alastair, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Saucony Endorphin Pro 5. The Endorphin Pro line has always been one of my favourite real person super shoes or race day carbon plated shoes, and that's because it's incredibly accessible. It's very comfortable, it's relatively stable, doesn't have that huge wobbly stack height that many super shoes tend to have, and the fit of the upper is very accommodating too, with a nice voluminous conforming upper mesh and lacing system. The Endorphin Pro 5 keeps everything I loved about version 4, but it's introduced some interesting upgrades that make it even better. Those upgrades include a better outsole rubber compound and a brand new carbon plate, which gives it a much smoother but also poppier ride. All right, let's kick off this review with the key specifications. They cost $225, and you'll be able to get hold of a pair in February 2026. I was lucky enough to get hold of a pair of these nice and early before release day, so I could get some impressions, get some experience, and share all of that with you to get you all excited ready for launch day. And hopefully I'm going to do that, because this is a good one. They weigh 7.5 ounces or 213 grams, that's for size US men's 9, my pair, and that's exactly the same weight as the previous version, the Endorphin Pro 4. They have a drop of 8mm, and that's 39.5mm at the heel and 31.5mm under the toe. Again, exactly the same numbers there. So this is going to feel very familiar to anyone who has been running in the version 4 and enjoying that shoe. The upper is using a single layer breathable race mesh and integrated tongue, so that bit is different for sure. And although it does feel very similar and it's still very accommodating, it does have a more secure fit around that, where the tongue and the collars join. And that ultimately helps with heel lock. The midsole is using Power Run HG as a top layer and Power Run PB as the base layer, and very similar to how it felt before, so don't worry, it still feels awesome. And all that means is you get that nice cushioned landing, but you get that poppy responsive toe off. Just what you want from a race shoe. And the midsole also has that full-length carbon plate with new slotted flex geometry. And then there's that new outsole with upgraded PWRTRAC rubber compound. It's way grippier than the previous version, and the traction pattern is way better too. I called that out in my review of version 4. This crosshatch pattern and the rubber compound was very hard, so I found myself slipping in the wet and going around tight corners. Don't get that anymore. And you may have noticed it does still have that nice speed roll rocker geometry. That helps with smoothing out transitions from mid to heel landing all the way to toe takeoff. Keeps things smooth, makes things efficient in the long run. When it comes to sizing and fit, they are very much true to size, but they've got a really nice voluminous fit. So if you do have high volume feet, you've probably discovered in the past that it's quite hard to find carbon plated race shoes that fit your feet well. There aren't that many out there. But the Endorphin Pro line is one of those shoes that should hopefully fit you a lot better than some of those other ones out there. It's just the design of the upper. You've got this nice stretchy knit section, which is the integrated tongue, and that just allows for so much stretch and extra volume if your feet need it. But it also does collapse down quite well. You might see it overlapping if you do have narrower feet. It doesn't feel uncomfortable on top of your foot, but that's really by design. It doesn't look that good, but it does work for a variety of different feet shape. And the medium to wide toe box allows for nice natural toe splay. That gives you natural biomechanics. That's how your toes or feet are designed to move when you're running. It gives you more power when they splay, but also it's more comfortable, it feels more airy, and temperature regulates better within the shoe. Foot lockdown is fantastic in the shoe, and heel lockdown is very good as well, as it was before. But this is my only point for contention, the only thing that I had to flag on the run, and that is this heel counter. Now, I don't know, it might not be the shoe, maybe it's me. Oh, this is going to sound like an abusive relationship now, but I did get a blister on the left shoe, or my left heel from the left shoe. Didn't get it on my right foot at all, but there are a few things that could have contributed to that. I had pretty much worn through my features socks, so they're super thin and probably not the best socks to be wearing testing new shoes. And maybe they were just putting too much pressure through those socks. I'd also been doing a lot of slit swimming in the morning, so my feet were kind of very tender. Maybe that didn't help, and it was a very hot day. This really does sound like an abusive relationship, but I promise you, the Endorphin Pro 5 isn't beating me up, it's not slapping me around the face when the camera's off. I do really love it, and although it did give me a bit of a blister on my left foot, but not my right, so weird, I'm just going to stick with it, and I think it's going to be fine because this heel counter is very soft and it is super flexible, and I know it's only going to get better with time. So that's me trying to convince you that I'm not getting beaten up by my Saucony. If you're enjoying this review so far, please give the video a like, really appreciate it. Helps my channel out a ton if you do that. Helps more people see my videos too, which can only be a good thing. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss new videos, and comment on this video please. I really want to get your impressions. Are you really looking forward to this shoe? Is this one you've been waiting for a while as well? Now I know this is pre-release, so there probably aren't many people out there who have actually run in this shoe yet. But when it does get released, and maybe you're watching this post-release and you've run in this shoe, let me know your thoughts, your experiences. How have you been running in them? Tempo runs, races, as a daily trainer? Put all that in the comments. It's really going to help anyone who watches this video decide whether or not this shoe is going to be for them or not. Thank you. Well, you've made it to my performance review. I'm going to start by talking about the ride, because that's the most important thing with a running shoe. It's how it feels underfoot. And that's really important because it can make or break a run. Well, if you're familiar with version 4, this is very much the same. It's incredibly familiar to me. I really love how stable it feels, considering it is a race day super shoe. Most of them are very wobbly, by the way, if you haven't tested many. A lot of people who do need a stability shoe in general for their daily training, but they really want to get a relatively stable race day shoe and have had trouble finding one, you have to try this shoe because this is the most accessible race day shoe for most people right now. The foam and geometry of the midsole is really nice, very comfortable, and absorbs shock very well on the landing, but gives you a good amount of response and bounce back as well. It is quite a stiff shoe, so as you would expect, it's got a carbon plate. There is a reason for that. When you're moving at speed and you're putting your weight into your stride, it's much easier to flex a shoe than trying to do it with your hands like this. When you store that energy from flexing a carbon plate, it gets released in forward propulsion. And that's how you get extra speed out of running in carbon shoes. But it also saves you energy in the long run, making running more efficient if you are doing marathon distance. So tons of benefits to carbon plated shoes. It also has that speed roll rocker geometry as well, which you can clearly see here. It kind of goes up a little bit at the heel, and you've got that nice toe spring or rocker at the front of a shoe as well. And all that does is smooths out the landing and smooths out the toe takeoff. If you had a flat shoe, you'd be slapping all the way around that marathon course, and it's just not going to feel comfortable in the long run. That's why so many running shoes have rockers nowadays. It just makes everything feel that little bit more refined and comfortable. And I've got to go back to stability, because for me that's one of the biggest selling points of this shoe, is the fact it's going to be stable for those who need it most. And if you're a neutral runner with a neutral running gait, then this is going to be great for you too. But I have to say, most runners, middle of the pack runners, non-elite runners, do tend to get a little bit tired towards the end of a long run or a marathon. It's very natural, so do I. And in such circumstances, you tend to move or land more towards your heel. Even if most of your race you're running more on your forefoot, like you probably should if you want to be running as fast as possible. you get lazy and tired and you just want to just lay off the pace, take it easy, Sunday jog, cruising type of runs in your nice expensive race day shoes. So the fact that this shoe allows you to land on the heel and not get any wobble is awesome, and so many people are going to love them for it. And then you've got that new PWRTRAC rubber compound outsole, which does so much better a job. I did point it out in a previous version that I didn't like the rubber compound they were using. It was too solid, too hard, and I just felt myself slipping in wet conditions, but also on extremely hard terrain. And this one is just much better. It's more refined. It's what they've been using in their trail range, but now they're moving over to Vibram Mega Grip, which is even better to see for their trail running shoes. And it's more durable as well, this outsole. So yeah, it's great to see that. And overall, the shoe does feel more durable. The upper certainly does. It's just got nice overlays and it doesn't have as much flex to it. So yeah, I feel like this one's going to last a lot longer, but I'll keep you posted. Even though I did get that rub from the heel on my first run, I have run in them since and it really wasn't that bad. I think those other circumstances that I mentioned where I had been swimming a lot in the morning and it was a very hot day and my socks were shit, all those circumstances led me to get a blister in one of my feet, which I never get. So there's that abusive relationship again. If you're wondering where the Saucony Endorphin Pro 5 fits amongst the competition right now, how it ranks, well, you'll just have to go up there, head over to my roundup of the best race day shoes right now, and you'll be able to find out. Well, you made this my final verdict. Is the Endorphin Pro 5 worth $225? Because that is a lot of money, but then again, it is a super shoe. It's a carbon plated race day shoe. They're all a lot of money, and most of them are actually $250 up. So is it worth $225? Yes, 100%. Because there are going to be so many normal runners, non-elites, that are going to get so much out of a shoe that they can't get from other race day shoes. Because most of them are wobbly, they're unstable, and many of them are very narrow as well. They don't have the volume in the upper or the width on the shoe. So yes, I think a lot of runners out there won't have a choice. If you do have that kind of foot shape and you want a bit of stability, then you have to look towards this one or maybe the Hoka Rocket X3, another fantastic option. So if you are on the lookout for a relatively high volume, relatively stable race day shoe and one that's fast, has a nice amount of cushioning and an extreme amount of pop on the run, then the Saucony Endorphin Pro 5 has to be on your radar. Whether you buy and try or go in a store and try it when it gets released, you have to do that because I think there are so many options out there right now, but none quite as accommodating and none quite as approachable as the Endorphin Pro 5. Go check it out. Well, thanks for watching this Saucony Endorphin Pro 5 review. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you the insights as to whether or not it's going to be the right racer for you. But as always, if you've got any questions about this shoe or you just don't know where to start, drop a comment down below. I reply to everyone. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next review. Peace.